You learned early that emotions were dangerous, not because anyone sat you down and explained it, but because every time you expressed too much, something subtle happened. A look changed. The room got colder. Someone pulled away. Or worse, someone exploded. So you adapted. You learned how to compress yourself, how to stay calm when others panicked, how to read the emotional temperature of a room before you spoke, how to swallow reactions and present composure instead. And for a long time, it worked. You became the one people trusted, the one who didn't crack, the one who stayed rational while others lost control. But here's the paradox no one warned you about. The emotional control that once gave you safety is now costing you power. Because power isn't the absence of emotion. Power is not silence. Power is not restraint for restraint's sake. Power is choice. And when you're no longer choosing emotional control, but defaulting to it, you're not powerful. You're contained. You might feel it in quiet moments. When you want to speak but don't. When you want to ask but won't. When you want to be seen but keep the mask intact. This video isn't about becoming louder. It's not about emotional dumping or losing control. It's about learning the 3 laws of emotional power that were never taught to you, because teaching them would make you harder to manipulate, easier to respect, and impossible to erase. To understand emotional power, we need to dismantle a common myth. That emotional control equals emotional maturity. In psychology, what many people call control is actually emotional inhibition, a survival strategy rooted in early relational conditioning. Let's break this down. When a child grows up in an environment where emotions are punished, ignored, or destabilizing, the nervous system adapts through affective suppression. This means emotions don't disappear, they go underground. This creates 3 key internal mechanisms. An hypervigilance. Your nervous system becomes constantly alert, scanning for emotional threat. You don't react, you calculate. You don't feel, you assess. 2. Attachment insecurity, often avoidant or disorganized. You learn that emotional expression risks rejection or loss of control, so closeness becomes conditional. You stay independent, but at the cost of depth. 3. Default mode network overactivation. Neurologically, your mind becomes stuck in internal simulation, thinking about emotions instead of experiencing them. You analyze feelings instead of embodying them. Here's the metaphor. You didn't build emotional armor. You built an emotional control room. You watch everything on screens. You monitor. You regulate. But you're no longer in the experience, and society rewards this, especially in leaders, thinkers, and strong personalities. But emotional power is not about eliminating emotion. It's about directing it. Which brings us to the first law. Law number 1. Emotional power comes from permission, not suppression. When you deny yourself permission to feel, you outsource power to the environment. Suppressed emotion doesn't vanish. It calcifies. It leaks out as fatigue, resentment, distance, or numbness. Carl Jung warned, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in the dark." True emotional power begins the moment you stop treating emotion as a liability and start treating it as data. Anger is information. Sadness is information. Fear is information. When you suppress emotion, you lose access to intelligence. There is a specific grief that comes from emotional self-control. It's not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't collapse you. It simply erases parts of you over time. You pay for emotional restraint with invisibility. You start sacrificing authenticity for belonging. You choose stability over truth. You become understandable, but not fully known. And the deepest cost? You begin to fear your own intensity. You tell yourself, "I don't want to be a burden. It's not that important. I can handle it." But what you're really saying is, "My inner world is negotiable." The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard called this despair, not sadness, but the refusal to be oneself. And here's the cruel irony. The more you suppress emotion to maintain control, the more emotionally powerful people around you become. Because unexpressed emotion creates relational asymmetry. Whoever expresses less feels safer, but whoever expresses nothing becomes predictable. And predictability is not power. Law 2. Emotional power is asymmetrical expression. This is the law no one teaches. Power is not emotional exposure. Power is selective revelation. Emotion becomes power when it's expressed intentionally, at the right moment, to the right person, without apology or justification. Most people either overshare, giving away power, or undershare, withholding presence. Emotional power lives in the middle path. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius didn't suppress emotion. He mastered timing. The modern mistake is confusing silence with strength. Silence is only powerful when it is chosen, not habitual. If this pattern shaped you, it doesn't stay in childhood. It follows you into adulthood disguised as personality. You might recognize yourself here. In relationships, you become the stable one, emotionally available but rarely exposed. You attract partners who emote more than you, and over time you feel unseen or drained. In conflict, you stay calm but unresolved. You don't explode, but you withdraw. Resentment replaces expression. In work, you are respected but not advocated for. Your competence is assumed. Your needs are invisible. With boundaries, you sense discomfort but struggle to voice it. You enforce boundaries through distance instead of clarity. Internally, you feel emotionally muted, not depressed, just flat. Joy feels unsafe because it threatens control. In identity, you tell yourself, this is just how I am. But it's not who you are. It's how you adapted. These are coping strategies, not traits. The unlearning begins with witnessing, not fixing. Stop gaslighting your pain by calling it maturity. Stop spiritualizing avoidance as peace. Power begins when you name the pattern without judgment. Law number 3. Emotional power requires integration, not control. The final law is the hardest. You don't heal by becoming softer or stronger. You heal by becoming integrated. This means letting emotion move through the body without narrative, practicing expression without outcome control, allowing discomfort without self-abandonment. Practices that support this. Inner child reparenting, responding to emotion, not silencing it. Somatic awareness, feeling instead of thinking. Shadow work, owning disowned intensity. Integration means you no longer fear what you feel. And when you don't fear your emotion, no one can use it against you. Emotional power is not dominance. It is self-trust. It's knowing that whatever arises inside you, you can hold it, express it, and survive it. The goal was never to be fixed. You were never broken. You were conditioned. And healing is the slow, radical act of choosing wholeness over control. Carl Rogers said, "What is most personal is most universal." When you reclaim emotional sovereignty, you don't become unstable. You become unmanipulable. Because power was never about hiding your emotions. It was about owning them. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who learned to stay strong too early. Subscribe if you're ready to unlearn survival and step into wholeness. You are not here to be contained. You are here to be integrated.